What's up, Jayhawks? Welcome back to yet another episode of Outside the Locker Room. I'm Shamari Massenberg, and today we have former KU basketball player and national champion David McCormack. David, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here, and I'm thankful that you took this time out to do this interview with me.
No, thank you. And I'm sure the viewers would be fascinated to know that it is almost midnight where you are. Do you mind telling everyone where you're located?
Yes, I'm currently in Turkey. I'm in Istanbul, Turkey. I like to say it's like Turkey's New York City, big city, heavy populations. It's very, very beautiful place.
David, when you and I spoke a few weeks ago, you told me that things were really just starting to pick up and you were having back-to-back scrimmages. Could you just talk about how those games went and what it's been like noticing some of the differences playing overseas?
Yeah, we when I got here, it was a very quick adjustment. We had to try to build team chemistry very early on. And there's definitely some different rule changes from the states, and that was some things I had to get used to as far as the gameplay and timeouts, foul calls, goaltending, things, little things like that. Is what I had to adjust to in order to adjust to European style of basketball.
And would you say you're still adjusting? Because I'm sure that's not an easy fix. I mean, you're used to playing one way your whole life, and then you go over there and it's like minor, like tiny things to change.
Oh no, of course. Like you said, I've been playing basketball one way my entire life, and then I've transformed or changed into a new player in the past 2 months, having to acclimate to a new style of basketball. So, there's reminders that I have to talk to my coach with in order to remember how to play this style of basketball.
Right. And you talk about the differences with basketball, but what are some of the lifestyle changes? I mean, the food, there's a lot of things that you're probably not used to. How do you think you're adjusting?
I think I'm doing fairly well. I would say I'm a bit of a homebody. I probably need some more exploring to understand the city a little bit better, but I think I'm adjusting well. The cuisine here is really good, beautiful sights, very welcoming people. So, it's definitely far from home, but I don't feel like I'm, dropped in the middle of nowhere by any stretch. I'm very thankful in the place that I landed.
And it's great that you're able to speak so highly of it because a lot of guys really struggle kind of just with that transition period, especially like being in a foreign place, trying to play the sport you love. It can be a lot of pressure.
For sure. I know a lot of people who went overseas and they uh, couldn't quite catch on to the different lifestyle. Thankfully, in making this transition, I had a close friend that actually went to the same team as me as well. So Matt Coleman, who played at Texas, we came actually over in the flight together. So this is somebody I've known all my life, and to have somebody over here as well has made it a lot more comfortable.
Oh, wow. So that's great. You haven't had to pretty much do any of this process alone. You were with a friend.
For sure, definitely made everything easier.
David, after going undrafted back in June, you deleted all of your posts from social media and tweeted bet. Could you describe how you felt in that moment and what really drove you to kind of take that break from social media?
Of course, I say every athlete works to that point of wanting to be drafted and wanting to hear their name called or walk across the stage, whatever it may be. And I think that was my time of having an emotional release. Like I understood where I stood in the eyes of um, teams, and I understood where I placed in comparison to other players. And that was just a reminder for me to bet on myself, to take a break from social media, to this next year to really bet on myself, develop, do what I need to do in order to be in the position that I want to be in. And I was just saying bet to bet on myself, bet to understanding the circumstances that I'm in currently, and bet to just an overall understanding of how the basketball community views me.
Right. And I think it's like you said, it's an emotional thing. You wait for that moment your whole life and then to not have it happen. But how long did it take you to see that as something positive to push you forward to continue going on, like you were saying? Because it's not a good feeling at first, and you're speaking very, highly of it now. But how long do you think it took you to kind of see it as a positive thing?
I want to say that it was initially a quick turnaround. Honestly, 24 hours is what it took me to realize that like, hey, this is just how things are going to be, and this is what you have to do in order to achieve what you want. Of course, it wasn't as quick of a response. That's kind of the initial mindset. I think it took, maybe a month going through summer league, really understanding the work that's going to have to be put in, the dedication, the outlook on everything going forward to put myself in a situation that I want to be.
Right. And when you see a player like Juan Toscano Anderson, who went undrafted back in 2015, spent years in and out of the G League, to now being an NBA champion, do things like that motivate you? Stories like that?
For sure. You definitely look more into people's storylines and their backgrounds and the adversity they had to overcome and the work that they put in to get to the position they are now. And it's just more inspiring. Not, everybody wants the fairy tale story and people put work in to get that story as well. But there are a lot more players, a lot more stories that aren't going as publicized for those who when drafted and had to do work behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. And it's just inspiring to players who have to do the same to get to that same goal.
David, I know you said you really like your situation in Turkey, but I'm wondering, is the NBA still an end goal?
Definitely. NBA is always an aspiration. You dream about it as a kid. Just because things didn't turn out the way you thought in the first year, you don't give up. You don't deflect to something else in just a year. You may have to take an alternate route. Doesn't mean that the destination is going to change by any means. You just take that alternate route, do what you need to do, and get back on route to your end destination of what you want to do.
Right. And as you know, tomorrow is late night. Lawrence is very turned right now. And a lot of the former players are coming back to receive their rings. You, CB, and Ochai are some of the guys who will not be able to be in attendance. How do you plan on getting your ring? And will you be able to even watch the game?
I am trying to work out a way of where I will be able to watch the game. Of course, I'm going to support my fellow Jayhawks, my brothers, my guys. That still remains to be seen. And I prefer not to get my ring out here. I'd rather keep it safe at home and don't want it just by chance in transit. So it'll be waiting for me once I get back to the States and everything else. But I know it's going to be, it's amazing. I might be the last to see it, but I'm still going to love it. It's going
Right.
to be.
But you know we'll keep it safe for you.
Uh,
Okay, David, this part of the show is called Locker Room Talk. I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you have 5 seconds to answer them. Are you ready?
all right.
Best memory from the Final Four?
Probably the poster on Villanova.
Uber or Lyft?
Uber.
If you get a fast break, are you going to dunk the ball or go for the layup?
I'm easily dunking the ball. That's for sure a flush.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Canes or Chick-fil-A?
Oh, Chick-fil-A. Better breakfast.
I was definitely going to judge you based on your answer off of
Oh,
that.
better breakfast for sure. Chicken minis are undefeated.
And the hash browns.
Thank you. Somebody know.
Right. Well, David, thank you so much for joining me. That is it for this segment of Outside the Locker Room. But could you please tell your fellow Jayhawks, is there any way for us to watch your games this season?
First of all, thank you for having me again. And yes, there is some, depending on certain live streams and situation, there will be links out. More on my social media platform. I will be posting more links on stories or just general posts of where games will be available to watch. I will say the time difference might be a little bit inconvenient, of course, but the links will be
Right.
available.
Well, David, you know we are all here rooting for you, your fellow Jayhawks, and we wish you the best of luck in Turkey this season.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is it for this episode of Outside the Locker Room. I'm Shamaria Massenberg, and we will see you next time.